Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Hightop Sports for your Monday mashup, where we recap all the games from this. Not all the games that we find intriguing, the games that fit in are reliable, the rebound team that you like that you've been peeled off, and of course, game of the week, which I think everybody knows what game that was. It was an absolutely banger game of the week. This show is brought to you by, of course, BetUS. Let's go ahead and let's introduce the co-host for the evening. Multiple. Cody, no way. I thought you were about to pull a but. Oh.
We're drinking bottles, baby, because I breed champions.
That's right. Bubby is a Super Bowl champion today, boys and girls. And then Cowboy Ty is in shambles. I love it, Kai. You keep it on for this entire segment. Show the Super Bowl ring, Cody. Bubs won the Super Bowl up there in Indiana for what age group? Look at that thing.
Youth 9 and 10.
Awesome.
That is really cool. That is really cool. Well, boys and girls,
we should take that in the Florida State locker room and show them what winning's like.
You got to keep it on for the whole segment, Ty. We've got
listen.
We've got our first segment here, All Reliable, and you're wondering how is it Money Mike? Well, I'm about to tell you what it is in just a second. All Reliable is typically the team that gets it done, that you just know is going to go in there, handle their business, rock and roll. It was created from the Nick Saban-esque era, right, where he would just go in and just do what he's supposed to do in a big-time game, Ole Miss, Georgia, what have you, and just win the game. Oh, you can rely on them to get it done. We've got a new one this week. We're flipping it. Money Mike. You can always rely on Money Mike to make sure your spreads cover on which way, one way or the other. Just take the other team, whether it's -6, +7, does not matter, money line, however you want to do it. Money Mike will deliver the paycheck, okay? We are humming this year on picking against Florida State, and you can always count on for Money Norvell to completely choke it away, as he did for the last 1-4 here as we start the season. And as you can see, Ty is an absolute shambles after an atrocious game against the Stangs. I keep making fun of him because I go, look, they yell, they go, bring in Brock. Brock goes over 4. We don't... Bring back DJ. Ty, go ahead and give us your feelings.
I mean, the box should tell everything it needs to know. I mean, there's nothing good about this team. I mean, it's unbelievable that you went undefeated last year, and now you might not win 3 games all season. I mean, it's literally insanity. So guess what I think? I think Mike Norvell should go give half his paycheck to Jordan Travis because he made him and he got him that super extension. Jordan Travis is owed a lot more money than he's getting in the league right now, and it's from Mike Norvell. I mean, the whole team it's not just DJU. Don't get me wrong, he's a problem, but the offensive line's a problem. The defense is a problem. The defensive line is the only kind of bright spot, and it's not very good either. I mean, there's really nothing to even get excited about. So, I'll just put this box on until we win another game. I might not take it off. Hell with it.
Bro, I'm in tears. I'm watching you, the face not move, and there's a personality to the box. This is incredible. I feel like there's a real box. I don't know. It's killing me. It's absolutely killing me. Look, Cody and I are in cheer mode. And you were saying, look, Florida and FSU could find themselves with 2 or 3 wins come the end of the year, and this could be a battle for the ages at the end there. But, man, we were talking before the show, Ty. It's bad. It's worse than you could imagine right now. They just look like they can't find a rhythm, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. You got 5-0 Duke you got coming up. Clemson's this week at home. And I know my buddy Steve, he was like, I'm not worried about Clemson at home. Clemson's now a top 15 team and rolling. They might put up 70 on y'all. Notre Dame found their sweet spot. Ryan Leonard has got his thing going after losing to Northern Illinois. You play them as well. You've got Miami. I don't mean to scare anybody, but by golly, that's your next 4 games, Ty.
So you're telling me the box might not come off my head. I got it. Okay, cool.
Ever next year.
It is bad. I would let Cody talk, but me and Cody, I know what Cody's gonna say. It's just we're.
I mean, what's a point out that Florida State does well? I mean, the DBs got torched. DJU's throwing more picks than anybody I've ever seen. Like, why is that guy even starting? Just throw somebody else in there. You got an athlete. You got
They
like an
tried.
athlete there that was like a quarterback, like during like U9, U10, and led his team to a Super Bowl. No, probably not, because you don't have any winners on that team. There's no championship pride there. It's bad when SMU, the Pony Express, comes in and absolutely torches you. You might just cancel the season.
SMU looked like the old reliable team. I mean, putting up 42, they look like a sound football team. They look like FSU should have looked against SMU. And look, what's scary for FSU is that recruiting class, there hasn't been many. They've been relying heavily on the portal, and it's a little frightening now. It's a little frightening. Let's get into, though, our rebound team. What I love about the rebound team is this team was the peeled off team of the week last week, but bounced back with a vengeance in week 5. The Wildcats are going to go get what? There it is. We're back. Cowboy tie is back.
I'm back, baby.
Avery Johnson and the Cats handled themselves with Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ranked 20th in the country. I think Oklahoma State was riding a little bit off that high last year. I was saying before the show, Oklahoma State kind of surprised a lot of people last year with what they did and making it to the Big 12 championship. So that weight carried over into this year. They were kind of circled for me as a wild card. I know people were really high on Ollie Gordon. The guy, he's not Ashton Genty from Boise State, so let's not get too excited about him. Been able to keep him bottled up and got absolutely demolished by Kansas State. And again, maybe this BYU team might be a little bit scarier than we think, because Kansas State got right back on the Pony Express that I thought they would get back on. In 2 weeks, they've got Colorado, which will be another big test for them. But Avery Johnson, I think 3 touchdowns, 250-plus yards. But that running back, 15 carries you said, Ty, on 180 yards? What were your thoughts on that game?
Yeah. So obviously, what you get with Avery Johnson is inconsistency, and we saw it against BYU. And then he comes back, and then he looks like the guy that I thought he was going to look like all year. But once again, he is a young kid. He is learning. But when you have a running game, and you have DJ Giddens getting 15 for 187, I mean, it takes a lot of pressure off of you. So, with that being said, I watched it. I saw the glimpses that you really, really want to see. And then on top of Ollie Gordon being the team that they were last year. And like their offensive line is not as good, so Ollie Gordon's not getting all the holes that he was. So Alan Bowman's throwing picks, and it's just that the Oklahoma State team is not what they thought they were at the beginning of the year. Kind of like it's a less version of Florida State, if you could say.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good win, but not a massive win. I think Kansas State, the verdict is still out. Utah goes down. This Big 12, I've said it week in, week out, and it's just, I mean, at this point, it's true that it's a complete wild card of who wants it. Right now, who leads the way is BYU and Colorado. They're the only undefeated teams I think Texas Tech, no, I think they lost this week. Colorado and BYU are the two teams right now up top with 2 wins and no losses. Everyone else has got a loss for the most part under their belt in the Big 12. So it's going to be a wild one how this thing shakes up towards the end. Cody?
Yeah, for sure. I love the quarterback play of Kansas State. He's young, and Avery, but it's right now. This is Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. The best thing about Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde is usually at the end, once you iron some stuff out and he matures, you're gonna get Dr. Jekyll. You're gonna get a brilliant guy that has all the secrets and all the tools to do it and go Hulk mode and absolutely just keep that nastiness of INTs and fumbles and taking sacks when you're not supposed to under. You see him evolve each game. He's getting better each game. There's little things that he's doing better. His footwork is getting a little bit better. And like you said, when the running game is flowing, it takes a lot of pressure off the quarterback. He's not out there playing hero ball all the time.
Absolutely. Look, I love it. Like you said, I think that was a perfect analogy there of he's growing into his mold. And we saw at BYU when he got razzled a little bit, he got shaken up. And that's going to be the advantage for any team moving forward is how can we ruffle Avery Johnson? Love seeing how quickly he was able to bounce back, though. That was something that I was excited to see. He's so electric to watch. He's so fun to watch. So excited to see him have some success. Real quick, though, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsors, BetUS. This show is brought to you by, of course, BetUS. And when you use the code YouTube150 at betus.com, you get back 150% on your first 2 deposits, then 125 on your third deposit for the for the third deposit. So up to $2,000. So be sure to check out betus.com and use the code YouTube150. A lot of fun slate of games coming up over this week that are going to be fun to bet on. Honestly, at this point, whatever FSU is going against, just take the opposing team. Clemson's probably favored by 2 touchdowns if I had to guess. I haven't looked at it yet, but I imagine it's 17, 18 points.
17's got to be the number. I mean, that'd be my guess. 17. That's generous.
Also, shout out to Ty, to us. We were spot on with our picks with Illinois. They tried to get it close. The game was closer than what the score showed, but the 18 was just disrespectful, even though they did win by 14. But we were spot on with that 14.
Like I said, they'd be there in the fourth quarter, and it was would they be able to make plays? And they just, they didn't make the plays. But Illinois played a good football game.
For sure. It was a fun one to watch. It came down to the wire, and like you said, they just didn't have enough to get them over the hump there. Next up, we got You Like That? For the You Like That segment, this team went in and handled absolute business. 14-point underdogs on the road, had to get there early on Wednesday to avoid the hurricane that was coming through Florida. Colorado was written off. There was a prediction that came out that they would finish 3-9. But basically, they weren't winning another football game. Starting with UCF, they demolished UCF. They were able to run the ball, UCF, but KJ Jefferson is a fraud. He is a linebacker at quarterback, 295 pounds. He can still run it. He'll run you over, but he cannot throw it. And Colorado went out there and handled themselves. This, in my opinion, was their most complete game we've seen under Coach Prime at Colorado. Shador looked very sound, and that defense, and Travis Hunter is right now has to be the lead for your Heisman. We were just talking on the Oregon channel, who's our top 3. I've got Hunter, then Ashton, then Milroe as my 1, 2, 3 right now. You could argue those back and forth, but I mean, that's just what makes this Heisman campaign so much. But they handle their business. Ty, what were your thoughts on this big game at UCF?
Yeah, so when we see Colorado and we talk about Colorado, we tend to pay attention to their offense because usually their defense is not that good, or their offensive line, or they're getting sacked a lot, or something like that. But the story of this game was not the offense, though it looked great. Travis Hunter, absolutely unbelievable. He's amazing. But they got help from Webster, and they got help from Will Shepherd, and everybody was contributing on offense. But the story of the game was the defense. They created 4 turnovers. And if you can create 4 turnovers with that offense, you're going to win a lot of football games. I was impressed. R.J. Harvey, though, on the other side of football, I love that kid. I think that kid is phenomenal. UCF, he won't go nose because he plays for UCF, but that kid is unbelievable, and he was about the only bright spot for UCF.
That's spot on. The defense for Colorado is a huge flip to what it was last year, and that is, again, because of all the talent with Shador Sanders and this wide receiving core. That gets a lot of noise, but the offense was quiet given what Colorado usually brings offensively. This defense has really stepped up their game and showed out. Cody, thoughts?
I'm going to go with the offensive line. This is the best the offensive line has looked. You saw a couple rushing touchdowns, which is rare for Colorado. I mean, they were able to flat out, run the ball when they needed to, when they need it in the red zone to get an easy score on the 2-3 yard line. Shepherd and company did it, and they did it in multiple facets. They used wide receivers running the ball. They used running backs running the ball. I think the biggest improvement for Colorado is this offensive line, and boy, oh boy, I think they could beat Florida State tomorrow.
That's
by 30. By 30.
That's not saying too much. Look, this Big 12 is shaping up to be a good one. Obviously, with them being in it, they've got a bye week this week. Colorado does. Then they will be playing Kansas State, and that could be an early preview to a Big 12 championship. Ty?
Yeah. So them getting Dalton Hayden back, the running back transfer from Ohio State, was a big, big help to them, and it showed in that football game. They needed some run and Dalton Hayden being healthy was definitely a big key for them.
I mean, yes, but Micah Welch, true freshman, and Gustave, both of those guys average more yards per carry. But yes, that running back group of committee running back.
I think the committee helps them stay fresh, and that's just very helpful, I feel like.
Yeah, look, I think that's spot on, Cody. You nailed on the head that the run game, when they haven't averaged over 100 yards, and they had 120 yards against UCF. When that part of the game that has been non-existent last year and a little bit up into this year is rolling, and defensively, you're clicking.
Yeah, Yeah, for sure. The biggest thing too is they actually ran run concepts and it worked. They ran a counter, they ran power. They actually pulled the guard and the guard got there and made the right block. I'm telling you, the offensive line is a vast improvement over week 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Absolutely. Jordan Seaton's doing some great things at left tackle, that 5-star stud. Ty?
Also, that so them being able to run the football is going to help Shador not have to just drop back and throw the ball every single down.
Yep.
That's going to help him be a better football player moving forward. So if they can get that offensive line like that every single week, I think they're going to be pretty good, and they're going to surprise me, honestly.
Can be dangerous. Let's talk about our peeled off team for the week, boys and girls. Unfortunately, it's the Florida Gators' next head coach. Hopefully, possibly, maybe, I don't know. Lane gonna Lane. Ole Miss at home gets stooped. Kentucky just handled them. But this is what Kentucky does. This is what Stoops does. He has a couple games circled on his calendar, and he just knows how to handle these guys. And you got to think Ole Miss plays 4 easy games. They're rolling. They're on this high, on this good tempo. And you almost kind of fool yourself because you believe that, hey, we can put up 75 at any time, which is a good place to be. You want to have that confidence. But then when you get punched and you get leveled and you think like, okay, I can just go out there and throw for 300 yards and score 75 points. It's not happening. You have a hard time adjusting. That's what I think what happened to Ole Miss came on Saturday. They just got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to handle it. So we'll see how they adjust. A lot of football left to play. Again, this team was favored to roll into the playoffs and be a legitimate contender. Now there's a massive question marks. Could Lane already be in Gainesville? These things I don't know either, but it was interesting to watch. Again, we saw what Kentucky did to Georgia. We kind of brushed it off because of the whole thing with Kentucky is because of what happened in South Carolina. If Kentucky handles South Carolina, both games don't look as questionable now, but because they got skull-dried against South Carolina, everyone's scratching their head on who Kentucky really is. But this team is still sound. Brock Vandagriff is starting to find a little bit of a rhythm. They're not a bad football team, but Ole Miss probably shouldn't have only scored 17 points either. Ty?
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss reminds me of like, this is why they're going to be good team always and never an elite team, is because they lose these games where the elite team never loses these games. They remind me of USC, or they remind me of someone like Notre Dame, where they're a good team, but like at the end of the day, they're going to lose to somebody they shouldn't. And this is one of those games. Now, I will give Kentucky credit because Kentucky is one of them teams that if you let them hang around, they will beat you. And it's because they like to grind it out, and they're going to hit you in the mouth, and they're going to be physical with you, just like they were with Georgia earlier in the year. But if you get on top of them, just like South Carolina did, then they look like that. So we don't know who Kentucky is, but they can't. There will be some teams they shouldn't, and they're going to lose to some teams they probably shouldn't also. But for Ole Miss on the other side, all they do ever is run the score up against bad teams, and then when they have to play somebody, they look mediocre. And that's what happens every single year with this team.
That's not going to go well at Florida either if that's the case. We like a good defense. Cody?
Well, you're going against one of the best defenses in the nation. They held Georgia to under 30, and we saw that Georgia, finally got a rhythm and slung it all over the field against Bama. They are a boa constrictor. They are not, they're not going to bite you and you're going to get venom and you're going to die. They are going to squeeze you to death. And then in the fourth quarter, you look up and it's like 20-15 or 20-17. And you're like, what happened? Where did the game go? How are they ahead? And that's literally their type of ball. They love that type of ball, and they are going to knock off some teams. Now they're going to lose some games, but they are going to knock off some teams that they probably shouldn't, like Ole Miss.
Yeah, no, I think you nailed it on the head again, kind of just sucking you dry. Like before you know it, Ole Miss, again, they think they can just score, and all of a sudden you're not scoring. You look up, you're down 3 with 4 to go, and it's like, all right, we got to turn it on. And at that point, you kind of lost your juice there. But look, SEC is I was talking about it last night. It's going to be wide open. Especially with Georgia going down. Georgia's going to play Texas. Alabama's going to play Mizzou. This thing is going to be a dogfight to the end. I see 6 or 7 teams possibly making the playoffs from the SEC just because of how talented it is and how stacked it is. Right now, I think it's the 6 of the top 7 teams are from the SEC, or 5 of the top 7 teams are from the SEC. Yeah, the other two are Ohio State and Oregon, which are 5 and 6. So it's going to be an interesting one, boys and girls. But before we can move on to our game of the week, which is absolutely electric, did Rocket Money find any subscriptions you forgot about or any you paid for twice and didn't realize it? Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow on your savings. Rocket Money dashboard gives you a clear view of your expenses across all accounts, easily creates a personalized budget with custom categories to help keep your spending on track, see your monthly spending trends in each category to know exactly where your money is going. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you, sometimes up to 20%. They automatically scan your bills to find opportunities to save. Then you can ask them to negotiate for you. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's features. Be sure to check out Rocket Money, ladies and gents. Stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions by going to rocketmoney.com/hightopsports. That's rocketmoney.com/hightopsports. Ladies and gents, check out rocketmoney.com/hightopsports to get yourself a little extra juice when you sign up with that there, boys and girls. Now, let's dive into our next part, which is Game of the Week. Could be Game of the Decade. Depends on who you ask. I mean, you want to say it was Game of the Decade, best game ever. I feel like this happens quite often. You almost kind of forget because we've been spoiled with a lot of great games. This reminded me of the SC Championship game between these two not too long ago with Tua hitting the touchdown pass, going into overtime. That was a phenomenal game. That went down as one of the greatest games of all time. When these two teams link up, there is just so much excitement. There's so much chess mastery going on. It's always going to be a good one. At the first half, I go, this is unbelievable. I was in awe. I was in complete shock of what was happening. I'm like, this Georgia's going to have to reset. I mean, they're in complete shambles. The second half of football, we saw the Georgia we expected to see the entire time. Carson Beck started dialing it up, 3 touchdowns. He looked more comfortable, except he threw a horrible play at the end there. I don't know what that was. The defense kind of figured it out, got it going. This war that we saw on Saturday night is not done. We could see it again in an SC Championship. We'll probably see it again in the playoff in some sort of fashion, which is going to be absolutely incredible on a neutral field. You got to think playing at Tuscaloosa was an absolute dogfight for the Dogs on Saturday. But no excuse. They should have walked in there and handled their business. DeBoer, my goodness, that guy walks into every fight and comes out uncut. You know what I mean? That guy is just smooth as butter, man. That guy is, they said he wins everywhere he goes, and by golly, he is winning everywhere he goes. Again, the play at the end there was a rookie mistake by Carson Beck throwing it to the corner. It felt like, hey, there's a freshman cornerback over there, wearing number 2, not named Ryan Williams. Let's see if we can just toss it up and get a pass interference. You had a full minute on the clock, 3 timeouts, and a back of horses in the running back room that were ready to run down their throats. I don't know why the call, but it is what it is. Maybe they'll learn from it. Ty, thoughts on that game, man?
I mean, we could spend a whole episode talking about everything that happened in that game. Honestly, somebody always said you can't get a great comeback story without having a deficit. We almost saw a great comeback story. I think it was 28-0 right out of the gate. And I was like, is Alabama this good? Is Georgia really that bad? Like after the Kentucky game? And then as I was watching the game, Georgia never, ever quit. And that's what makes a great football team. Even when they were down 28-0, I'm sitting there watching their guys, and they are just playing as hard as they ever have. Like, we're going to get back in this game. We're going to get back in this game. Carson Beck made some very terrible throws at the beginning, and then he came back, and he made me shut my mouth in the second half, I can tell you, because he was throwing some dots out there. But I think Kalen might be the best thing to happen to Jalen Milroe because he is going to use him to his best strengths ever, and he showed it in that game with how he called that football game. I thought they had a great game plan, and Jalen was used in a strength where he didn't have to maybe go through his reads a lot. He could look on his first read, and they ran a fake read and then threw it to the back out of the backfield, but it was a one read. Linebacker was matched up against Jam Miller, I believe. He just threw it over the top of made a great play. He didn't have to do it, think anything. He just saw it, threw it, perfect. Jalen Milroe was running all over the field and just running past everyone. He looked like the best player.
He was blazing speed, dude.
And then Ryan Williams, I'm telling you, that kid could play in the league right now at 17. He is unreal. That catch and then those moves he made at the end of that football game. I was in awe. My mouth was on the ground. I was like, who the hell is this kid?
He's got eye paint that says "kill everybody," and then he changed his Instagram profile picture to Michael Vick holding a little bulldog. I mean, the guy is a straight swag killer.
Savage.
I love every minute of it. And here's the thing though: if you're gonna lose a game, this was the game to lose. And if you remember going back to last year, there was a team that lost early, and that team was Alabama. It's so early, nobody's gonna remember this game as long as you get it done at the back end. In a weird way, this could be good for Georgia, could be good for Kirby Smart to really ruffle the feathers. I didn't think they needed it, right? But could be a dangerous recipe. I also think it really ignites Alabama in a weird way, though, given the fact that they almost blew it and then just like that got it done and were able to make a big stop. I think they found a lot. Both teams found out a lot about themselves, which for the rest of the league should be going, oh shit, because no other team, Ohio State, Texas, Oregon, has faced what these two teams went up against each other. They basically played a championship preview on Saturday night, very early in the season. To get that test, you really found out who you are. In Georgia, to go on a road in one of the most hostile environments in college football at night at Tuscaloosa, you learned a lot. You learned a lot.
Let's not write off Texas yet. Waiting for them because I still believe that team's a really
No, I think they are. I'm just saying that there's an advantage of being able to have this underneath your belt because Georgia's going to roll into Texas with this already underneath their belt. With Texas hasn't really seen any of that yet. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying they're not good.
I get that.
But in a year when everything is marginally thin, these things are going to add up.
For sure. So I got two game of the weeks, and I'm gonna save you the second one. Give me 25 seconds for that because it was non-televised, but it was a game of the week, boy. All right, so I'm gonna tell you this: Uncle Lou, our boy Uncle Lou, has been screaming at the mountaintops about how sluggish and slow Georgia has looked in the first half of football games, and it's gonna bite him in the butt. It's gonna bite him in the butt, and Saturday, it bit him in the butt. I hope it's a realization. They've been slow and sluggish for the last 2 years. Now, I'm going to say this. Kirby is a king at second half adjustments. It was night and day. Alabama could do nothing in the second half minus a couple big plays when they need to make it. But what do we always say? Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time moments, right? And that's what Milroe did, and he definitely and Beck. I'm going to say both of them. Beck and Milroe definitely put their odds in for the Heisman race for sure.
I think Beck ruined it, but he didn't kill it. But he
didn't kill it.
He put it on life alert for sure.
Yeah. I'm going to say this. Georgia's defense has speed everywhere. I just don't understand why it takes to the second half to make the adjustments and get it dialed in because Alabama looked untouchable that first half, and that is scary.
I thought it was going to be 60 to 14. That's how bad it looked. But to shut them down basically up until that last touchdown, the entire second half was a huge adjustment. What was your game of the week that wasn't televised? Is it Bubbies?
Oh, game of the week is Bubbies. Let me set the scenario, okay? It's 6-7. We are down. The clock is ticking. We're down to a minute in the fourth quarter. We have got to stop them. They are on our 30. It is 3rd and 10. What do? They dial up a little pass play. What does Bubby do? I'm going to tell you. Now, he's been using this speed edge blitz, bending around the corner all game. What does he do? Nobody even tells him. He says, I'm going to go outside. I'm faking in. I'm going to swim in over the top, and I'm going to beeline to the quarterback, and that's what he does. Beautiful setup. It looked like he was playing chess out there. He went outside, stuck his foot in the grass, playing that edge position, swiped over, had a beeline to the quarterback, and he knocked the quarterback out of the game. Absolutely decleated him. Helmet came off. Ball goes up in the air. Pick six. Cascade White beats Cascade Black for the Super Bowl 9. Youth 9 and Youth 10. We end up winning by 19. We get a quick score there on an onside kick also.
Brutal. Just kick them while they're down with an onside kick. Hell of a description. Would love some video evidence of
Well,
that.
our kicker is we're still adjusting. We all say it's an onside kick, but it's the best he can kick.
It's a squib.
We got Bruce. You got Brucey out there kicking the ball. Brucey from the longest yard.
It is our defensive tackle kicking it. It's great.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Hell of a week of college football, and we're only in week 5, boys and girls. I try to make sure I appreciate it. It was nice as a Gator fan having a bye this week. I really got to appreciate and enjoy football without having the stresses. Now next Saturday I get to stress all day until 7:45 kickoff against UCF, but should be a good one in the swamp. It is sold out. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I know we did. We enjoyed shooting. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe. We got Cody the Professor, Cowboy Ty, myself, Sheldon here with Hightop Sports. This show was brought to you by BetUS, and we'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.
Peace and love.